All right, I want to do another video real quick talking about so I'm using the UlitMaker Cura software. I have it in dark mode. And while we're sitting here, let's take a look at this software. It's pretty cool. We've got our file menu on the upper left. We can create a new project. We can open files, open recents. We can export these. Edit has undo. We can select all our models. We'll kind of go through that here in a minute. We can view our camera position, which are these buttons down here in the lower left. This is the different ways that you can view the model that you're looking at to print. Settings, you have extruder. We can adjust our nozzle size. It starts at 0.2, and then you got 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, 0.8, and 1 millimeter nozzle size. We have our material that you're going to be using in your model. Let's say I download a model and I want, instead of PLA, I want to be using silk, or I want to use something else. This software is really nice because what it does is it groups everything by vendor. So I can come down here and select everyone, and then I can say I'm going to use PLA, and just the basic PLA is what I want to print with. Let's say you're using a different one. Let's say you're using a different UlitMaker PLA. There you go. You can use Polyflex, Polymax, Polyplus, and Polywood. So you're using UlitMaker's. Is Creality on here? I don't see Creality off the top of my head, but there's a good bunch of them in here. There's generics, ABS. There's generic PETGs. You can even add your own. It's fine. I have mine set to Area 1 PLA because that's the filament that was recommended to me by the guys at work. So I'm like, all right, they said it's good, so I'm going to try this. And then so that's our extruder materials set as active, and then we can check our printers. Here's where you can add the printer that you want. Say you don't have, I have two here listed, the Creality Ender 3 Pro, because that's what my local library system uses. And so when I go to submit a print to the library for them to print to me for free, I'll set it up in the Creality Ender 3 Pro version so that it fits more to that printer's specs. But I also have I have manually added the Creality Ender 3 V3 SE. You just go in and hit add printer. I can use a UlitMaker or a non-UlitMaker or UlitMaker printer. Remember how I did this. You can add it by IP if you'd like to. I think I added that printer. How did I do that? Manage printers. There we go. Hit manage printers, and you click this add new button, and then how did I do this? Via digital factory, add local printer. I think I had to sign into I forget how I did this. Oh, here we go. Add a non-networked printer, and then you just go find what you're looking for. And if you scroll down, there's a ton of printers out there. Creality 3D. And then I scroll down. That works fast. Then I scrolled down till I found the Creality Ender 3 V3 S3. They've got the S1. I thought I saw Neo in here someplace. And then you can add it. You can give it a custom name it, all kinds of things. You hit add, and then it's going to add that to your list. You can update your firmware. You can check out your machine's settings in this software to see how everything is. I don't mess with any of this stuff. You can mess with the extruder. You can do all kinds of really detailed. I don't mess with any of this stuff. I have used my printer just pretty much out of the box. So you have your settings and how to add a printer through manage printers, configure settings visibility. This will list all of the different things that you can do or want to see over here. When you hit show custom, you can really dial into a lot of this stuff. You can enable print cooling, just your fan speed. You know, you can do tops and bottoms and your walls thickness. It gets really detailed, most of which I don't even touch right now. There are some extensions that you can do. You can check for updates. You can do manage backups, post processing. You can manually modify your G code if you so wish to. And then here we go into our preferences for our Cura. So by general, it starts off your language and then your currency. I chose $sign as my currency, and here's where you can pick your theme. UlitMaker or UlitMaker was kind of, the white was a little bit too bright for me, so I switched to the dark. Whenever you change this, you do have to restart your software, just FYI. Here's some other things that you can look at and check. If you want, just look through here, see what you want to do. I did the currency. All kinds of things. Scale large models. Sometimes you might want to do this. Sometimes you might not, because if you download a STL and it's massive, it's just going to be huge. And if you auto scale it, it's automatically going to take a huge file or a huge model and automatically shrink it down. Sometimes you want that. Sometimes you don't. That's all just depending on what you want to print. Another thing that I did on here, we have our printers, is material. I set this up so that it's going to use the material by default for all my prints as what I pick. So you just come through here, you find your print, your filament manufacturer, and what you want it to be. I'm going to be using the Area 1 PLA, and I've started. I can unstart, I believe, but it's going to be my favorites now. And then you can add some more information in here as you want. So I've gone ahead and added, I don't think I can change the color. I really wish I could. I don't like that red. But you can import, I think you can adjust some of these. Here you go. Filament cost. I have some coming. It was $19 for the black. It is 1 kilogram's worth. And that's pretty much all you need to do, so that when I go in here and do a print, it's going to give me some more detailed information. So let's do a couple of things while we're in here. Let's import into our Creality Ender 3v3 SE. And you can just click on this window here, this drop list, to select your printer. And you can select here to select your material. And again, I want the Area 1 PLA. I should probably rename that, at the 0.4 millimeter nozzle. And so I'm going to left click over here, and I want to grab a digital file, and I'm going to go into my Astroneer, and I'm going to grab my shelter just because I know it's massive. It's huge. And this is the shelter from the game Astroneer, and you can see how big the model is compared to the build plate. This is just ridiculous. So what you do is you click on the model, left click, and here we got some more information. This is telling us its orientation or position as to where it is on the build plate. I can right click on the model and say center it. I can right click, I can delete. I can copy it to the clipboard. I can paste from the clipboard. I can multiply this, and we'll show that here in a minute. I can select all models. I can arrange the models. I can put them in a grid. I can clear the build plate and start over. I can reload all the models, and I can reset the models' positions, reset their transformations. I can group and merge and ungroup, all kinds of things you can do. So what we're going to go over here is the next button down is our scaling. You can do scaling in lots of different ways. You can just come in here and type in the number. Let's say 50. It's going to scale it at 50% of the original size. Maybe you want that. Maybe you don't want that. You can hit snap scaling and then drag some of these down and see how it's chunky grabbing. It's scaling in kind of chunks because it's scaling in snaps. I want to undo that. I'm going to right click, hit center, and it also snaps it down to the bottom of the build plate. So now we got a much better idea of how this is going to look on the build plate. So I'm going to grab this, pull down, right click, center, pull down. Now, as soon as it turns a solid color like this, it's telling you, hey, I now fit in the build plate. Everything in this model fits within my parameters. And we can see we're at 14.8. I think I can go 15 just to round it up. So I type in 15 over there and it's going to adjust everything at 15% of the original model size. And that's how you would scale it. You can also move this. Let's say I don't want it right there. Let's say I want it over here. You can pull things around. Now I'm off the build plate. Now I'm back on the build plate. If I wanted to rotate this, I could. I could click and drag. And if I wanted it to sit like this on the build plate, I could do that. There's lots of different ways that you could utilize this. It's just about getting familiar with the software. Again, default it back to its original thing. Control Z will undo all your changes. That's pretty handy to do. And again, you slice it and you look at the model just as you normally would. I don't want to do that with this because this is a big complex one and it's going to take a long time. So I'm going to clear the build plate. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up some other things. Let's say I have something small that I want a lot of. Let's do, sticking with the Astroneer theme. Let's say I've got some organic. Let's say I want to print some resources from this game. And that's what it would look like. Well, I can slice this. And it's going to say, oh, it's going to take 39 minutes or 29 minutes. It's going to cost you a nickel and it's going to be 3 grams of material. Like, well, while I'm here printing one, I might as well print a few of them. So we can left click and then right click on this model and say multiply selected. Now the number in here is the number of copies of the original that you want. So whatever number you put, add 1 to get a total. So let's say I want 5 total. I'm going to go ahead and put 4 in here, not 14. Well, we'll just click it here and say 4, hit OK. Now it's added 4 to my total. So now I have 5. And if I want, I can arrange the models. They're not touching, but they're arranged in such a way that the software has compacted them. I can also say arrange the models in a grid. If I really wanted to do that, I could. Another thing I could do is I could select all models, and then I could group these models. So now this whole section is a group. So now when I don't want to do that. So now when I select this, I should be able to move all of these as a group, even if I just selected one. Because let's say I have these, I want these printed over here, and then I can come into my, I can add more elements to this as I want. So we've got some, let's add some compound. So now we have compound. Let's do the same thing. We're going to multiply it by 4. It's already kept it. And then we're going to arrange all models in a grid. And see how when I did that, it kept this as its same grouping because it is a group. This didn't change. So you kind of got to be careful with a lot of this stuff, how you want it to do, work. I tend to use this, just select and arrange the models, because I don't want my printer going all over the place, cooling off between in extrusions. Just go ahead and print it right here. This should be fine. So that's one way that you can add multiples to multiple models to the same print job. Let me go ahead and slice this. Let's see it's probably going to be a little bit complex. We've got some spheres going on. We've got some leave actions. We've got a group. Let's see how long it takes. Shouldn't take too long. Depends on your computer. I've only got an i5 core. I think it's a 9th gen. I don't know. So it's going to take 6.5 hours to print all that. It's going to use 32 grams of filament. It cost me 61 cents. I can preview that. And I have my adhesion set for skirt. I don't want a whole bed of material. And again, maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's up to you and how you decide to print things. So as I scroll down, we do have infill on. Just because some of these top supports, if I've got a roof someplace, I want to make sure that that doesn't turn into just a big string of filament hanging there. I want to be able to print the roof of the things that I'm printing. So anyway, that's how you use, this is an overview. This is how you use the Cura slicing software. Again, save it to disk, send it to your printer, and it will print just fine, hopefully. And then you can tweak with things as you may want to from there. Like, let's say I want a super quality at 0.12 millimeters. I'll have to reslice it. This may have been a bad example. And this resolution is your z-axis. This will determine how the distance between each level. So I think we had 104 levels last view. I need to go reheat my hot chocolate. Let's see how many levels this is going to be. I typically just leave it standard. Standard for what I've been doing is just fine. So that's going to take 10 hours. And has 173 lines because there's more layers, more levels to get a smoother print. So I probably wouldn't do this. Or maybe I would. I don't know. You know, turn it on, make sure it's going fine, go to bed, see what happens in the morning. Good stuff. I'm sure there's all kinds of helps in here that I've never even looked at. Online documentation. What does that look like? No articles found. That's not helpful. I know there's several different slicer softwares out there. Orca is one. Creality came with one as well. And it looks somewhat similar. I haven't used it just because I started a couple of weeks ago using Cura, and just haven't really looked anywhere else because it does the job that I want to do just fine. See, normal is 20.20 millimeters. Extruder 0.4 nozzle. Maybe I'll mess around with this real quick just to get an idea of what I'm looking at. Let's look at something simple here. Let's go to games. And I have this Magic the Gathering card tray. Let's open that up, and it looks super cool. And I'm assuming it works similar to the Cura. We have scaling. We can rotate. P bottom. I don't know what P bottom does. Auto. Oh, put the bottom on the bottom. Layout. Oh, how you want it on the grid, so I can put it in the corner. Oops, let's leave it auto. Supports if I want to. Grid support, a minimum angle, only add supports to the hot bed. Automatic support. Oh, maybe I will use this. Automatic support. What? That looks silly. Let's slice this and see what it does. This might take a second. Okay. And again, we can look at this model and we can cut through it. How do I don't know how I adjust so we can look at this as well and kind of see what's going on. Now these support blocks are only added for areas that have overhang. Got print speed, preview, each step. Got land printing, outer wall. Here's the G code. See the nozzle. That's the G code. I don't want to see that. We can see colors. Printing time, 6.5 hours. It's going to use 76 grams of material. It's going to cost me $1.52. I haven't set this up, I don't think. Tools, language, English, color theme, dark theme. Calibration, help, updates, about us. Model repair, manage materials. Yeah, I'm not using Creality. Create. Choose. It doesn't have. Cancel, reset, import. I guess I gotta have a file. Yeah. Interesting stuff, but it lets you do all the stuff, the cost, and all kinds of things based at temperature, cooling, all kinds of stuff. I might play around with that to see how this works. I assume, which I probably shouldn't do, that the software that comes with my printer is better than third parties. Something tells me that's probably not right. I look at you got the online store. You just download straight into here. Well, that's pretty cool. Ugh. Firewalled. Maybe that's why I'm not using this. Anyway, that's how you use software to edit your models, get them to the size you want, kind of tweak things around. There's lots of YouTube videos out there of other people that take a lot more time, go into a lot more detail about these things. So just do a search in YouTube for, the software that you want to use, or the printer that you have and the software that comes with it. And you should be a lot better off than this lame video.